it's important to have balance in life. It's important, look, you could sing about rock and roll all night and party all day. But you got to have balance, man. You can't, even if you're a shredder and that's the focus of what you're doing, you can't do that your whole life, right? Because you're gonna wear out. You're gonna wear out your hands. People tend to think that if they can't play something or they just need to practice more. And man, look at my friend Victor Wooten, man. He just developed a condition now, and he's I guarantee you he still plays incredible bass, but it came a point where he started having problems with his hands. And the same thing would be for somebody to realize that if you're gonna play in the clubs and you're gonna be around alcohol and you're gonna be probably having a couple of pops and playing and all that stuff, well, then the next day, man, you might want to hit the gym. The next day, you might want to go get some cardio. The next day, you might want to go for a walk, like I'm doing now. I have to work crazy hours on this channel to keep the numbers up. And it's very time consuming. It's very easy to spend an entire day or 2 or 3 in a row sitting in front of the computer all day between doing all the family stuff that I have to do. But like now, you have to find balance. You have to do things for your health, for your mind. Sometimes taking a break and go read a book, or, back when I used to have to cram songs and I'd be cramming songs for days, I knew that my brain would need a break from doing the same thing. It's hard for me to learn a ton of songs because I've just got this scatterbrained ADD brain, which I'm sure a lot of you guys out there feel the same way. We're musicians, right? We're bing, bing, bing. Our brain is all over the place. We're creatives, right? But, here's the deal, man. I knew that when I was working on all these songs and or focusing for an audition where I was just playing songs over and over again. So when I got to the audition, I would know every part of the song. I would be able to sing my vocal, while I played and all of that kind of stuff. I knew I still needed to take breaks. I still needed to okay, let's go in the other room and we'll play Tetris for a little while, or we'll, or just clear the head and go for a walk. You can't, preparing for an audition. And look, man, I just had a guy who's a big booking agent up in the south side of Chicago, Lou. I'll give him a shout out here because he's telling me that, there's nobody else doing this. There's nobody else giving this kind of advice, but look, man, getting ready for a gig, whether it's your own original gig or somebody else's gig or a job opportunity or whatever, it's not just learning the songs and playing them perfectly, but it also might mean you go into training. And that's something that I would be in varying degrees of shape, over the years. Sometimes I would be in great shape, when I was on the Sunset Strip. It was easy to be in great shape because I was in my 20s. But look, if we had a big show coming up or something, something would happen. I remember you would get times where guys in other bands would call up and you'd have beef with other bands, and guys would call up and say that they were going to kick my ass at my show. They were going to come to our show and kick my ass. And then that's a motivating thing, man. I hear the voice message on the band hotline at the Shock House. Hey, dude, this guy says he's going to kick your ass. And, I have to laugh about it now, but, it's just like, cool. Thanks for the week before heads up. Thanks for the heads up. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to go for a jog now. And then I'm going to go into the weight bench behind the Shock House in the backyard with all the junk. I'm going to hit the weight bench all week. I'm going to do push-ups. I'm going to be able to run a couple of miles, so that just like a boxer, right? I would jog backwards. I would do all of that stuff. And I was, man, thank you it's like they could have just shown up and jumped on stage and probably, I would have been surprised and I wouldn't have known what was going on. But thanks for the heads up so that I could prepare myself physically, mentally, be aware when I'm on stage. If anybody gets near the stage, they're getting the boot. And of course, the guy who calls a week ahead saying he's going to come kick my ass, no, he doesn't show up. He doesn't show up at the gig. And my attitude was like, dude, this is when we're on that stage, it's our stage, right? When we finish our set and we take our shit off the stage, then it's the next guy's stage. But when we're up there, that domain is ours. Our flag is firmly planted on the stage. And I welcome anybody to come up there and try it. Try anything. Come on, man. But here's the deal. I'm up here and you're not. And I'm in an elevated position. And if I see somebody coming up aggressively to the stage, they're getting the old snakeskin cowboy boot to the chest. And then that's just how it works. But man, so there's a lesson there. If you're playing in bars, if you're playing gigs, if you're on the road, you are going to come into situations where you're going to deal with people who are inebriated, who may be getting pissed that their girlfriend is checking you out, or, wanting to talk to you, or maybe already talked to you backstage, and they think something happened. And man, you need to be prepared for everything. Be prepared for life. Prepare for a gig or an audition as if it was a heavyweight championship fight of the year. And I guarantee you, if you prepare for it with that mindset, you're going to get the gig. Psych yourself up. Now, I said in the interview with Steven Rosen, who was a confidant of Edward Van Halen and so many legendary guitar players, I said to him, man, if marketing, selling, right? And learning how to sell. I've talked about this before, but David Lee Roth and Muhammad Ali, great salesmen, right? So hype yourself up before your audition. Make a mantra in your head that you are the guy, that you are the man or you are the woman, and this gig is yours, and you walk in there with that attitude and you take what is yours. You take what is yours. Why? Because not only did you learn the material, not only did you get the tones right, and that's another point. Dial in the tones that the gig requires. Dial in the sound. Dial in the patches. Learn the vocal parts. All of it. If there's a dress style that the band dresses in, you show up looking the part. You tell yourself, you psych yourself up like Muhammad Ali saying, I will knock him out in 3, and hype yourself up. Tell yourself that you are the one, that you are the chosen one. This is your dream. This is your job. And man, you do the training. You do the training as if you're about to do a heavyweight fight. Now, look, I know that if you are doing this, if you're not trying to bulk up, you might be joining a band and you don't want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, cardio might be your friend, right? But man, it wouldn't hurt to throw a little mixed martial arts into your training and a little boxing or whatever. It's going to make going up there and playing songs, it's going to make it light work, easy work. You want to be able to do the job easily and not even break a sweat. Psyching yourself up for the audition, walking in with confidence, smiling, knowing that you are the guy. Everybody else didn't train as hard as you. Everybody else didn't prepare like you did. And when you go in there knowing that you did it, you're not going to be scared like everybody else. Everybody else is going to wonder, oh, wait a minute. How did that bridge go? Or I didn't really learn the solo. And I just wore whatever I wanted to wear. And I don't know the harmony parts, but, that's not going to cut it, man. That's not going to cut it. If you've got to go to a cattle call, you need to prove to them that you're the guy. And so having that balance in your life, right? Having that, not just focusing on shredding, not just focusing on licks, but also having the other skills to get the job and looking and acting the part. And there was another comment that I saw recently. And the guy said he went in and he nailed the songs. And then they asked him if he drank beer. And he said, no, I only drink water. And he didn't get the gig because of that. Well, look, man, if they're not going to realize that that's an asset, that having one guy in the band that's maybe doesn't drink beer, that these days I would see that as an asset. Because somebody's got to have a level head. Somebody's got to have balance, right? And so not everybody, you don't need everybody in the band thinking alike, but I get it, man. They're concerned with the hang. They're concerned how you're going to respond. If they're, 3 sheets to the wind. But man, I think it's important that you have balance in life. You don't focus only on one thing. You work on your vocals. You work on yourself. You work on your look. You work on your image. You work on your health. And if you do all of those things, then there is absolutely nothing stopping you.